Well, we just got part of that in it. So, hello and welcome to episode 141 of the Rollo and Slappy Show. I am Rollo McFlugel, and with me is Slappy Jones 2, and we are both at McFlugel.com, and we were both just talking about how when I start the recording, I do a countdown, but I never time it right. So there's always, I say, all right, recording in 3, 2, I don't say 1. You're supposed to think that in your head, and then it's supposed to go, but the way Google Hangouts does its thing, I just don't time it well.
User error.
Well, a good carpenter blames his tools.
That's true.
Yeah. So, how was your Easter, Slappy?
Great. It was great.
Good. Were you an Easter worshiper on Sunday?
I was.
Yeah, so was I. So was I.
Yes, and the bunny did make the trip to my house, so the kids got stuff. It was great.
That's good. That is good.
Yes.
I was at my parents' house, and you know all my family was over there, and the Easter bunny hid some of the eggs a little bit too well.
Ooh.
For my nephews and even the Easter bunny herself from being able to find her for a while.
Couldn't find them. Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, that we eventually did, but it took some effort.
Took some time.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah,
had some good weather too. Rain held.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day. Saturday ended up being a nice day too. I finally mowed my lawn for the first time.
Oh, I got to do that this week. I had to pick up leaves still from the fall because we had so much rain every weekend.
Yeah. I will be glad when the weather just is nice and
my car's green now from the pollen.
Yeah, that happens now. I can't wait for 2 months from now. We're in the mountains and we watch the green clouds move around.
Yeah.
Go into my eyes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is great. So I don't think I gave the date yet. It's April 27th, 2019. Just April 22nd. Wait, did I say 27th?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 22nd. I can't read my handwriting there.
Yeah.
I have the date scrunched in the margin. Or maybe we just time warped. I don't know. But the show notes page for this episode is mcflugel.com/141. There will be some links to the things we're talking about, as well as a way to check out our sponsor, libertymugs.com. Just put a mug up there to help make the timeline weird. And also, for those of you attending Childerberg in 2 months, wow.
Childerberg?
Like a month and a half.
More like Bilderberg.
Yeah. But I made a mug for the it's not a cult. It's not a cult, but Car Campit was posting the non-cult but religious rules. And part of it is you have to drink some goat blood from a chalice. So for those in attendance who want to fully participate in the not cult events, I made a mug that is labeled chalice. So you, with that, you will be able to fully participate in the not cult events.
And if you really want to show off to your fellow Childerberg members or people who also go to Childerberg who are not part of a cult, buy the $100 mug.
If someone shows up with that $100 mug, I will hand them a crisp $10 bill. Well, I can't promise. Well, I'll give them $10. I can't promise that it will be crisp or in the denomination of a $10 bill.
There you go.
Yeah, so that is not a discount, by the way.
No, it's not.
That would not be considered a discount. So you can still honestly say that you have a $100 mug. I think it's free shipping too. So it's not going to be one of those. Is it $100 plus another,
7 cents.
Right. For shipping or tax. Yeah. Well,
stop talking. Let's just keep going.
Yeah. How's that going to work?
I don't know. Stop talking about what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, actually, that's your job is for me to stop talking and for you to introduce the episode topic.
Yeah. Today earlier today, Rollo sent me a text with a link to a tweet talking. Actually, I'll just read the tweet. It says, letting @Bitcoin keep the Twitter handle without disclosure that it's promoting Bcash is like having a knockoff brand Rolex, Rolax, being able to operate under the @Rolex, Rolex account. And then he has some video he created. But I guess it brings up an interesting discussion. And I don't know where Rallo wants to take this one. I kind of want to talk about how IP could potentially work in a free society. But one, is there fraud? And two, what should be done? Should the government come in and do something, or should Twitter do something, or should no one do anything? Rallo, what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, the government should just the government should just be in charge of money. Then we wouldn't have all these
certainly
problems.
Be in charge of Twitter.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
So to give some background, I'm sure a lot of the people,
listening at least know somewhat what's
right. There was a contentious hard fork. What was it? November 2017.
Yeah, it was November 2017, right?
As a way to
wait, was Bitcoin? Yeah, I don't know. I forget. I thought maybe it was like August.
I forget. Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know. Who cares?
Somewhere a couple,
not relevant.
Yeah,
it was a while.
A year and a half or so ago.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin, there was the debates on how to scale it, and there was a portion of people that said that they wanted big blocks. Other people said that they want to scale it using other methods, such as second layer solutions, and the idea of the Lightning Network was kind of in its infancy, and now we have the Lightning Network. It's still in kind of the beta phase, still very experimental and #reckless. But it's made great improvements and great advancements. We've talked about it here before, and actually, if you want a rundown for why we think that big blocks was a bad idea and you should scale other ways without hard forks, check out mcflugel.com/90. And that was the episode where we had JW Weatherman to come in and really do a good job of explaining that debate, because we weren't really that sure about what was going on at that point. And he answered a lot of our questions.
Yeah.
So ever since then, there's been this very contentious part of Bitcoin and the greater quote unquote cryptocurrency world between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. And a lot of the people in Bitcoin are saying that they're the real Bitcoin. Of course, there's a lot of branding, a lot of value in having the Bitcoin brand that comes with it. So instead of, because there's been many forks of Bitcoin, and a lot of them have not used the Bitcoin name, but a way that the Bitcoin Cash people decided to market was to keep that name and kind of use a term that, because their whole thing is, well, we want to be digital peer-to-peer currency, and so we're cash. So they've been using this kind of social attack on Bitcoin. And so where this comes in with this whole what to do with the Twitter handle is, on the surface, I mean, Twitter's kind of a first come first serve thing. I was fortunate enough that I was the first Rollo McFlugel to claim the @Rollo McFlugel handle. So all the other many Rollo McFlugels in the world are not able to use it, because I was the one that signed up first and grabbed it. And so the same thing, like anything else, happened with Bitcoin, and the people who, or the person who ended up with the @Bitcoin thing went along with the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. And so, Slappy, I'm sure that I know that you agree that that's not necessarily like a problem in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't necessarily agree that, and I don't even know if that tweet you read was making this point. I don't think it was, actually. But just because someone other than someone who likes Bitcoin gets it, I mean, it's kind of like, kind of tough luck.
Yeah.
Or maybe if someone else starts a Twitter-like service where they expect businesses to take it, maybe something like Coca-Cola, maybe they'll reserve that name because it's better. It might be better overall if the actual Coca-Cola gets that handle. Bitcoin's different because no one owns Bitcoin. No one controls Bitcoin. It's a consensus thing. So it makes it a little bit weird, but it would be nice that the Bitcoin Twitter handle promoted Bitcoin,
Certainly.
but that's not what happened. So do you think, I don't know, I've been kind of rambling about this. Do you think there's anything to add about this kind of this setup, just without any additional information that we're about to bring up about this situation? I don't know. Is there anything to add about this? Because I don't think this is being shown as like or presented by the Bitcoin Cash people as being like, oh, it's censorship. It's they're just cranky that they don't have the handle.
Well, yeah, obviously. Like, of course they would be. Just like if someone had Bitcoin Cash and was promoting something other than Bitcoin Cash, they would probably say that's not Bitcoin Cash. Yeah, I don't know. We can. I mean, do you want to talk about that? I believe that people who support Bitcoin Cash would say that Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin Satoshi's vision is Bitcoin, and they're all Bitcoin. So stop crying. Bitcoin. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what to compare it to, because the same wouldn't work if you said like Kleenex, you couldn't market your tissue as a Kleenex, or people would say, what are you doing? That's not a Kleenex.
Well, it's, I think Bitcoin Cash claiming that they are the actual Bitcoin is like, I have man parts between my legs, and it would be me like saying, I'm actually a woman.
Right.
Like, I'm objectively not a woman. And Bitcoin Cash is objectively not Bitcoin, because if you run the Bitcoin implementation prior to the hard fork, it will never sync to the Bitcoin Cash blockchain.
Right.
So
it's just not. It's not Bitcoin. Yeah, but they do try. I think. Am I wrong there? Don't they try to like say that? I think they might be trying to convince themselves, but
they make like these kind of.
Am I wrong in that? Don't they say like, or are they trying to just say Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin? Like what? And that's Bitcoin.
They're saying it's Bitcoin. No, they're saying. Well, this is where it gets confusing for a lot of people, especially outsiders, is that they refer to the software implementation or just the open source community, Bitcoin Core. So Bitcoin Core is two things. It is the open source community that contributes to the software, and it's not like a structured organization. That's not central. People love to make that accusation that Bitcoin Core is somehow like a company. It's not. It's not like the Ripple Foundation that calls the shots for that absolute scam coin. But it's also the software implementation, and Bitcoin is the network. It's also the coin, but Bitcoin Core is the software implementation. So if you want to run a full node, although there are other implementations, but the most popular one is the Bitcoin Core client. So like the software is what they're trying to say is that Bitcoin Cash is what is described is more qualitatively described what is in the white paper, and it's like okay. I disagree with that. Because it's just based on whether or not the blocks are full. If they weren't getting full blocks, then transaction costs would still be, pretty cheap. That's because that's their big selling point, is that transactions are cheap and everything, but cheap and fast. Although fast doesn't cheap and fast, that doesn't actually say much, because they're what are they judging it on?
Right.
But like I said, it's the lines of code are the lines of code, and if you
Right. So I get that. I understand that. And that's why I think and I see I sometimes I think there's certain people who also understand that, who are promoting Bitcoin Cash. I think there's others who don't.
Sure.
But the ones who do and say it anyway, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
The ones who understand that Bitcoin Core is just the software to connect to the blockchain. It's not
right.
anything other, right? I mean,
well, yeah, and I think it's because core, that word sounds like it's like the core of the earth. It's the central part. It's the dense thing. It creates this illusion of centralization, and centralization and decentralized are the big buzzwords in the space, because decentralization is one of the things that makes Bitcoin interesting, and what makes it possible as long as it stays decentralized. So to paint a picture in people's by really harping on the word core, I think it paints it's a way to paint a picture of well, yeah, this is actually sounds pretty centralized to me if there's a core, right?
Yeah, that could be part of it.
But really, it's just they're trying to have the branding.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I think that's what I think. I said that's it, like I know for sure. But that's what I think it is. I think when they split off of Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin was the only real game in town that was serious.
There were other things at that point.
Nothing like Bitcoin, though.
Right.
If you talk to people on the street about,
at that point, yeah,
that's what I'm saying about branding and marketing.
The altcoins really weren't.
Yeah, you want to have
really
that
knew
Bitcoin
about
name. Like that's important
right.
Because that was what people, and that's kind of their argument. I mean, if you talk to people who weren't in the crypto space, they'd be like, "Yeah, I have some Bitcoin. I have like Ethereum and and referring to them all as types of Bitcoin." For sure, like I know that's happened in my experience, and so having the Bitcoin name is huge for marketing. And I believe that's why they are holding on to it.
Oh, absolutely. And so, like everything that we're talking about so far is not what makes this case of the Twitter handle interesting, and what creates kind of a weird situation where it's like, well, how, this does seem like a problem. The problem for me, so the Bitcoin Cash person or people, and I know who it is, but I don't even want to mention his name, because I think he's, but
Car Campit.
Yeah.
Just kidding, Car.
It's actually Bird, but they also control and run Bitcoin.com, which is another thing. It's the same kind of difference. All right, they were the ones that got that domain name
and used it when it was Bitcoin.
Sure.
But then, yeah,
but they supported the Bitcoin Cash hard fork, and so the problem is, this is where the fraud comes in, and I know people will disagree with this. I don't know how you do, but when you go on Bitcoin.com, they say, hey, let's, you want to buy some Bitcoin? And then they send you to go buy Bitcoin.
All right, well, I went there on my phone.
Yeah, let me do it on my computer.
And they have at the top, this is on the mobile site, it shows BCH to US dollars and BTC to US dollars. And then it says buy Bitcoin. And right underneath that says purchase BCH or BTC.
Yeah.
So then when you click buy Bitcoin now, see, they're kind of putting them both as subsets of Bitcoin, like I was trying to say earlier. Like everything is Bitcoin, right? And these are the two types of Bitcoin you can buy here. You can buy Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin.
So, yeah, I clicked on it, the buy Bitcoin thing, and the only there's a drop down. Yeah, there's a drop down, but it's set to Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah,
that's the default thing.
Yep.
And then they say buy Bitcoin Cash at the top. And then they refer to it as Bitcoin Core also.
Yeah, which is weird.
Which is incorrect.
Right. It's just not not what it. I mean, it's not what it is.
So for someone new to the space, it's like, oh, buy Bitcoin, and they see this like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Core thing, and it's Bitcoin.com. They're going to be led to believe that kind of it would be reasonable for someone who's new to the space. They want to buy Bitcoin. They go to Bitcoin.com, and then they click the buy Bitcoin thing, and the default setting is this BCH, and they see, all right, well, I'm either buying
Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, I'm either buying Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin Core. Well, all right, well, I'm buying money, so cash. That's what I want.
Or whatever. I mean, I know a lot of people will say, because I've heard this from people, I'm going to buy Litecoin because it's cheaper.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that like calling it Bitcoin Core
isn't what it is.
Right. And it just creates this, it just confuses what's going on.
Definitely.
Because Bitcoin Cash is, it elicits the idea of money in your head more than the word core would. So it's like, I don't know how you defend this. I don't know how you can look at this with a straight face and say, yeah, they're not trying to get people who intend to buy Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin Cash, which, I mean, that is the definition of fraud. Is that
I think on technicalities they get around that. I mean, they do say, although it's not Bitcoin Core, so I don't know what that's about, but they do say BTC.
I would think it would be reasonable for someone who goes on their website, goes through the thing, and they end up realizing, wait, I don't actually have Bitcoin. They sold me Bitcoin Cash to say, I want my money back. And to make a claim that like, this isn't what I thought I was getting.
Yeah, maybe
on a technicality. I guess, maybe
I'm looking at it and I don't see anything that is like, to someone who's new going into the space. I mean, it's all going to be confusing.
Yes, well, exactly,
and they don't make it very clear,
right?
But I don't think there's anything that's a lie other than calling it Bitcoin Core. That's just not what it is.
I mean, does that qualify as a lie?
Maybe. I mean, it says BTC. I don't know why it would say Bitcoin Core. Yeah, that's clearly a lie. It's not Bitcoin Core.
And the thing is, it might not.
And it would. The only other thing you could put there is buy Bitcoin, and they don't want to do that.
So.
But is it fraud? It's certainly misleading.
They're intentionally misleading people. They're saying buy Bitcoin, and they're not nudging you. They're putting you in a place where you're going to not buy Bitcoin.
I mean,
legally, I'm sure they're covering their legal basis, which says, it says that BTC. You're buying Bitcoin Cash.
I don't know why it says Bitcoin Core, but they do put BTC there. And whenever you see a ticker symbol, it's always BTC. Anyone who's going into this, unless you're like if you're in the stock market, you look up ticker symbols all the time. You might be a little confused, like, what's this Bitcoin Core about?
Right.
But it's BTC, and you see the price of BTC at the top. You know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's one of those things where at the end of the day, as a consumer, like, do your own homework.
Yeah.
And make sure you know what you're buying. But
now, if you download this, if they have a Bitcoin.com wallet, how's that work? Is that both of them?
I don't know.
Does that download the chain?
I don't think so, because I know they're pretty. I don't want to add to their number. I hate even giving them these clicks.
Yeah, I don't know what that wallet is. I mean, if you were to,
so I went on the home. So I don't know what's going there. So I went on the back on the homepage and I scrolled down a little bit, and it has this thing called a header. It says Bitcoin Cash. In August, it is August. something that maybe it was the SegWit 2X thing.
It was. That was in
November of 2016.
Yeah, the fork was in August, but it didn't really gain momentum till November.
The run up.
Yep.
So in August of 2017, Bitcoin forked into two versions, Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Cash. The fork was a result of competing scaling solutions for the Bitcoin network. And this is underlined, this sentence. Bitcoin.com is fully supportive of Bitcoin Cash BCH fork. We believe it maintains the original properties of Bitcoin that made it so popular, as well as provides a scaling solution that is ready to handle exponential global adoption today. And there's a button that says learn more and another button that says Bitcoin Cash. So, I mean, that's another thing that's very misleading. Like it
didn't split into two versions. One version kept going.
Right.
One version split off.
Yeah. So I mean, we can talk about this all day.
Yeah, I know. And there's going to be arguments and people are going to be mad and whatever.
Yeah. So, all right, we have this situation, and this is what makes it more interesting because there is some, you can make the argument. There's some debate. It's not, it's not like they're saying here, buy BTC and they're selling you.
And it's
Bitcoin Cash.
Buy Bitcoin and it's Bitcoin Cash. They clearly do say Bitcoin Cash.
But it's skeevy. Like what they're doing is skeevy. It's not, and it's not straightforward that they're being straight up. So Twitter kind of does have a situation where they're in because they are using their website to drive traffic. They're Bitcoin.com and the Bitcoin Twitter handle are using Twitter's website to drive traffic to get people to buy Bitcoin Cash on their website. And so Twitter kind of has a reputation, or they want to maintain a reputation that they're not being a platform for bad actors. And they have certain rules. If you're threatening violence or stuff, then that's against the rules. I'm pretty sure if I was promoting a straight up Ponzi scheme on their website, then they wouldn't
allow it.
Right. That would be grounds.
Can you promote Social Security?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I'm sure if they came across it and they saw what was going on, they would kind of put a kibosh on it. So what do they do in this situation? I think a good analogy is to look at because again, before anyone gets, if it wasn't clear already to get the wrong idea, we're not saying that just because someone who has the Bitcoin Twitter handle doesn't actually like Bitcoin and promote something else is not in and of itself grounds to say that Twitter should cut them off, should not allow them to use that handle. Even though it's a free market, it's a free business, they should be able to do what they want. I do not think that would be a good policy. But if you were at a grocery store, the branding's very important there, and the grocery store owners want to make sure that when you're buying something as a consumer, you get satisfaction, you're buying what you want. And so if you let's use Oreo as an example, because there is no knockoff brand of Oreo that I'm aware of that comes close to Oreo. Do you agree, Slappy? If you don't, oh man, this is going to be.
Yeah, none that are as good as Oreo.
Even though Oreo is actually a knockoff of Hydrox.
Yeah, it is. And I think you wrote about that once.
Yes.
I've had some good ones, but none. I'm not going to ever say anything beats Oreo. I'm just not. That's not going to come out of my mouth.
Same difference as like Cheez-Its. Like Cheez-Its are absolute garbage and just.
I mean, I'd eat them.
I mean, I would eat them, but.
Yeah, I prefer Cheez-Its.
I would never have a bowl of Cheez-Its next to Cheese Nips and choose Cheese Nips.
Yeah.
But all right, so let's say that you own a grocery store and you're selling Oreos, and I come in and say, "Hey, Slappy, I have a tractor load full of this cookie that I think you want to sell at your supermarket. And you say, okay, cool. What is it? And I show you a bag of it, and the bag looks exactly like Oreos. And you say, "Oh, this is interesting." And it's like, "Are you selling me Oreos?" Because I already have a supplier. So no, I mean we'll try it. Try it. I think it's better than Oreos. And you open it up and you take them out, and it's not as good. And it's it's clear. It's one of those things where it's any reasonable person would be able to know that they're not eating something that is good as Oreo.
That would be subjective.
Well, it's not, because I've never met a person that said like, yeah, the knockoff brands are as good as Oreo.
All right.
This is Slappy. This is a pretty safe, subjective thing
fact
that literally everyone agrees with.
Okay.
So would you sell my cookies in your store? And this is just ignore government. We're not saying that government is enforcing any sort of trademarks or copyrights or anything. Government's not going to come down on you if they say you're selling cookies that have the same exact bag. And Oreo has no grounds of isn't going to sue you. Would you sell it?
I don't think so. No, I mean, probably not.
Right. And why not?
Because it's not Oreos. I'm lying to my customers, and they're probably not the same quality. Let's assume they're not the same quality.
Well, we know that. I mean, you tasted it, and
Yeah, so
just like a regular.
Now my customers are going to come in and buy Oreos, and they're going to be like, "These Oreos suck."
Right.
I'm not getting my Oreos from there anymore.
What does that do to your reputation? Would they trust what? Because we've talked about this before with people ended up promoting a lot of these scam coins, including Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah.
People that I kind of used to like, not kind of, I did like, and then you see them squealing with delight as they do a Bitcoin Cash video, doing zero comp transactions, and it's like, man, it doesn't mean that all the stuff that you say about other things is wrong, but it really makes me stop and think that, like, ugh, you had that really, really incredibly wrong thing you did. So it's kind of going to make me not second guess, but kind of look at you in a little bit different way. Maybe be less assuming that you're saying something that's correct or true in the future.
Yeah.
So it hurts in other words, I said that in an essay, and I could have said it hurts your overall reputation, right?
Right. I mean, if you go to a store and you buy Oreos, and if you like Oreos as much as I do, you can probably spot a fake. And yeah, obviously not as good. I'm probably going to be like, what is this store selling me? What else are they doing?
Exactly.
It doesn't mean everything in the store that they sell is fake, but it does make me think, like, wow, this guy who owns the store doesn't really care too much about now maybe I might assume, maybe I'll go back and talk to the store owner and be like, yeah, what's up with your Oreos? They kind of suck. Or maybe I won't care. Maybe I'll just be like, screw this guy, he screwed me. But because I could maybe assume he got scammed and didn't know what he was buying.
Sure.
Now, of course, you had the backstory, but you're asking me as a consumer now.
Yeah.
So at the time I buy him, I don't know this. Yeah. So, I mean, it would certainly make me question the stuff I'm buying there. Now, we don't have to go down this road, but I'm sure Oreo would be in their interest to have some kind of, official seal of Oreo that,
exactly. They would. I mean, you could go
ways to protect their brand.
You can go. I mean, it happens all the time with businesses. I mean, especially in my field in refining. I mean, there's a lot of equipment that you have to buy, and you don't always. You almost never buy directly from the factory or the business that makes the actual product. They have dealers, and they have authorized dealers. Even just buying lawn equipment, I like Steel is the brand that I like for a lot of the lawn equipment, and they have authorized Steel dealers out there. so that when you can go there, I mean, you could see this business and you could verify it with steel that they're selling you genuine equipment. So there are ways to handle this without saying like, trademarking and, all the legal ruggamaroo.
Just, in the cigar industry, Cuban cigars, there's a ton of fakes. I mean, they're all over the place. In fact, if you smoked a Cuban cigar and it's from someone who isn't a regular cigar smoker, it was probably fake. Not definitely, but probably. They're all over the place because they know tourists buy them and they know people don't know what to look for. Now, of course, the Cuban government runs the Cuban cigar shops, but they have all kinds of ways that if you know what you're looking at, you can verify it's a real Cuban by the different seals they put on the box. And they actually kind of burn something into the bottom side of the cigar box, it's their official seal, and they have this a seal that goes across the box to keep it shut. There's like at least 3 or 4 of them, and then you could look at the bands if you were buying a single to know they have like certain holograms and certain things on the band you can look at that people will fake, and there's some really good fakes out there. But if you ever look at a fake Cuban versus a real one, you can see a difference. Now you might have to look very closely, but if you know what you're looking for, you know how to spot it.
Right.
So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because I like cigars.
Just don't try to mention cigars every episode or something. That would be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird, and no one would like me.
We did have an entire episode early on. It might have been like the 3rd episode we did
on cigars.
Yeah,
I'll have to go back and listen. It was probably awful.
When we tell you to like share this show with your friends and family, we don't mean the early episodes.
Yeah, forget them.
So I guess the argument someone could make is like, all right, I agree with everything you're saying so far. But like, who cares? Bitcoin is this whole cryptocurrency and Bitcoin thing. Still, it's only a very small amount of people care about it. I don't think it's really going to hurt Twitter's reputation. I know there's a bunch of Bitcoin maximalists out there screaming about it on Twitter, but
they're weird anyway.
Yeah, like who cares? They make up like almost 0% of the world's population. Why does it matter? And that, in most cases, I would probably be like, yeah, I mean, we could talk about it, but that's basically the reality of the situation. That's setting aside my idea that I think Bitcoin will become money and be globally adopted, but that's neither here nor there. The thing is, Jack, is he the owner of Twitter?
Yeah.
What is the
founder?
The founder of Twitter. He is interested in Bitcoin, and it sounds like, he hired some people to work on Bitcoin for Twitter, I believe. And when he was talking about implementing Bitcoin stuff, someone said, "Oh, how about Bitcoin Cash?" He said, like, no. He just kind of like scoffed at the idea of being involved all with Bitcoin Cash. So Twitter has a lot more skin in the game if they are going to try to implement Bitcoin in some fashion to their website. And now they have this Twitter handle at Bitcoin that's being an adversary to what they're trying to build.
Okay.
So it's kind of like now it's not just, well, we have a reputation of that someone who might be engaging in some skeevy practices that we're worried about that will reflect poorly on us. Now it's just going against one of their business goals, right?
Yeah. Do you think Jack is more concerned? Because I know everyone complains about him and what Twitter's doing. They complain all the time. But do you think he would be hesitant to do that as kind of setting a precedent on like taking people's handles that they've had for years?
Well, I don't, that's like part of the idea of like, what do you actually do? I don't know that, because that's the thing. And I know some people are trying to say like, Bitcoin's not owned, Bitcoin's not controlled by any one person. So they should make it like, I think you're not allowed, no one's allowed to have the handle at internet.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of saying like you should have Bitcoin be the same thing. And it makes sense. It's kind of like a neat symbolic thing. So I don't know that I would be like,
can you have at US dollar?
Let's find out. We're knocking me off track, but
just curious.
Let's see. At US dollar has 39 followers.
Nice.
The description is: follow me. The US dollar, I rises and fall against other currencies.
There you go.
Nice. So the last tweet was August 27th, 2009.
Dollar hasn't been doing much.
No, it's done nothing, right? There's been nothing to report. So I guess since 2009, the dollar has just been flat.
Yeah.
Against the dollar.
Certainly hasn't been tweeting.
Yeah. So I don't think it would be a good idea. I think it would set a bad precedent to be like, all right, well, we're taking the handle away from you and giving it to someone else. But you just like, I don't know. I guess it would be considered a ban. Oh, I guess it wouldn't be a ban. Functionally, it would kind of be, but I mean, I don't know. Either make them change their handle or whatever. I don't know. That's not my ultimate solution to this problem, because I kind of mentioned this right before we went on. But I think the ultimate solution to this problem is not Twitter. The ultimate solution to this problem is just someone should just eat. I'm saying someone should do something with their money, but right. It's easy for me to say, but I'm pretty sure that if I had the money to do it, I would do it. So I would like, instead of saying should, I would like it if someone or some people just did a hash attack on these other altcoins, including Bitcoin Cash, and just destroyed them, basically. So by that, I mean, so the proof of work, or I should say proof of work attack, or whatever, there's multiple attacks you could do this way. But the most interesting thing about Bitcoin, what gives it the ability to be decentralized, and what has allowed Bitcoin to be successful and to not be stopped while other things like Hashcash and eGold that was tried to be internet money or digital cash before it, where it failed, was they were not able to figure out a way to have a consensus-based model where it was a decentralized way of accounting for who owned what. But with proof of work, they were able to solve this problem. And proof of work basically is, the way to measure proof of, I'm going to link to something, and it's more for something else, but they give an explanation of proof of work. But on the show notes page, mcfluga.com/141, it's called ASIC Resistance is Nothing But a Blockchain Buzzword. It's by Stop and Decrypt on Twitter. He wrote an article about ASIC resistance, and he explains proof of work in the beginning a little bit, which he can explain it better than I can. But just so we stay on topic and I don't end up tongue twisting myself, the way to measure proof of work, or how well, because that's what gives the network its security. Because the proof of work is you can calculate it by how much electricity is spent to solve a block, to secure the network. So there's all these people running computer hardware that they're racing to solve the next block, so that when they solve the block, they get the block reward and they get the payout. And so they're running all these calculations to figure out to force the calculation to solve the puzzle. And there's the only way to do it is by brute force. You can't do a reverse. It's not like algebra where you can just rearrange the variables so they're all racing to solve this. And the way to do it is you want to have as many computers as many iterations of this function going through this calculation as you can. And so they're running on computers and stuff. They're running on hardware. So that takes electricity. So people have created, for lack of a better term, these computers that are only do this one calculation, and the algorithm is called SHA-256.
You've probably seen that if you're in the crypto space at all. You've probably seen SHA-256 somewhere.
I'm pretty sure that's what they use to encrypt emails. So it's not like a crazy thing that was never used before.
Yeah, it's like a standard.
It's a standard. It's a really good. No one has ever cracked how to solve this in a reverse way. So there's all this electricity being spent to power these computers and these ASICs that I mentioned for the thing, which is just a circuit that does one thing, a computer that does one thing.
So application specific, is that what it's?
Application specific integrated circuit.
Yeah.
And so these people are running these things, and they're trying to get the most bang for their buck with the electricity they're solving. So that's where the ASICs come in. They just get really, really efficient at running this SHA-256 algorithm. So there's a lot of expense. I did a kind of a clunky but roundabout way of trying to say that there is a ton of electricity, a huge amount of electricity being used to try to solve the blocks. And when you have all this electricity in there and all these different people trying to solve these blocks, for someone who wants to come in and attack it, and either, maybe they solve a block, but they don't include any transactions. So it kind of makes it difficult to use Bitcoin if no one's processing your transactions. So if a bad actor wanted to come in and make Bitcoin try to harm it, they would just try to solve every block and not process the transaction. So people get frustrated. It becomes kind of unusable. But in order to do that, to kind of cheat the system, or not cheat it, but to manipulate the system the way you want to, it is extremely expensive. The way Bitcoin is now, it's I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but it would take an absurd amount of money to try to do this, to the point where you're better off trying to just being a good actor and just trying to use your mining power to just solve the block and get the money from that. And so that's what makes one of the real great things about Bitcoin is that there's a better incentive to be a good actor instead of a bad actor. So why I said that is because if you look at the proof of work for these other coins, like Bitcoin Cash, it's like a tiny fraction of what Bitcoin is. So people who are mining Bitcoin could take some of their processing power and divert it to the Bitcoin Cash chain and just destroy it without really harming the security behind Bitcoin's network, and without that much cost overall to them. So let me pull it up just to give the numbers to this Bitcoin hash rate. I think it's this website. Yep. So if you go to bitinfocharts.com, and I'll try to remember to put this on the show notes page, and there's a bunch, you could run a bunch of different coins. So yeah, here's the hash rate. And does it give a number right now? And then you can also put Bitcoin Cash on the same chart to compare it. It's actually not as small as I thought. You can actually see it off the y-axis. Let's do the last 3 months just to get it. Okay. So Bitcoin has about 20 to 40 times, and that's 20 to 40 times the hash rate that Bitcoin Cash does. So there is to it's 20 times the electricity is used to secure the Bitcoin network over the Bitcoin Cash network. So you could take a little bit off the Bitcoin thing and just go after the Bitcoin Cash one. And you might say that's really nasty and whatever, bad. And yeah, it may be bad for Bitcoin Cash, but I do think that's going to zero anyway. Check back on our other episodes about why we think there's going to only be one money, and that's Bitcoin. But the thing is, if you're trying to be an immutable blockchain, immutable money, that your money is yours and there's nothing anybody else can do about it, I mean, that's a huge threat to that claim. And what frustrates me with a lot of people that promote other things other than Bitcoin Cash, or other than Bitcoin, is that they might bring up hash rate. So yeah, well, I mean, Bitcoin has a lot better proof of work, but we have all these other benefits, other features that we have that Bitcoin doesn't. Well, I mean, if you can't secure your network, that other stuff doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, if I came out tomorrow and did this, it's called Rollo Coin, and I say, and I could, and you agree with me that I have all these features that are better than Bitcoin, but it's only like me and you running it. Like there's no chance of success, because it would be very easy for someone else to come in and just obliterate it.
Sure. Now, here's a question. Say we had a free market. Let's say we didn't have cryptocurrency. Let's say we have gold, and one of the local banks, is doing something wrong, and in the long run, it will hurt the customers there. Do you think it would be a good idea to break in and steal all the gold so that no one could do anything?
No, but I don't think that's what is happening here.
If you went in and purposely crashed it and people have their money in there and don't know,
you're not stealing. I mean, you're not stealing any money.
It, you are crashing it purposely. I mean,
Sure.
What if you bomb the building and I don't know, the gold was destroyed? I don't know somehow. I mean,
well, it depends. I mean, this bank is this like a very fractional reserve bank?
I don't know. I'm just trying to say
they don't. I mean, that would be a better
if you
went a better analogy if you just kind of destroyed the bank somehow and they're operating as a fractional reserve bank but without disclosing that to the customer. I don't think that would necessarily be a bad thing, because the more that operates. I mean, I don't agree. Even in a free market, I think fractional reserve banking is a bad idea. I think it's fraud.
It's not fraud if you tell them what you're doing. It's not fraudulent.
Yeah, I don't know how you would ever.
I mean, I agree that fractional reserve. I don't like fractional reserve banking, but I don't think it's fraud if you say, "You give me $100, I'm going to loan out 90 and still have 100 for you."
Yeah, it's theoretically yes, but how well would a bank disclose? I don't think in that environment they would really be giving accurate disclosing, because they wouldn't get any business if they did. They would hurt. It would very much hurt their business if they were doing fractional reserve banking while other banks were not, because it makes your money's not as valuable.
Yeah,
as a bank that's in full reserve. So in order for them to compete,
I agree with you.
They're not going to do that. So.
Well, maybe they will, though. I don't know.
I don't think there's ever been a case that they were honest.
I don't know. I mean, I know that we have fractional reserve system and everyone knows about it.
Right, but
if you care to see
operating, yeah, but it's not operating on a free market.
Yeah, I know, but I don't really think there's too many people that I come across in my daily life that are upset about fractional reserve banking. Now, in a market, if there was, and maybe you're right, and we can guess if they would actually market it or not. But I'm saying they are marketing that they are fractional reserve. Is that fraud? I don't think so.
It's yeah. I mean, Yeah.
We're getting off topic.
Yeah, when you present it that way, yes, I agree. But I'm saying in practice, I don't think it would ever happen. So yeah,
probably not.
I'm not arguing your point.
Yeah. So
I'm making a different point. So
and what if fractional? I mean, I totally agree. I think I don't know. This is kind of stupid to argue about because I don't think there would be fractional reserve banking in a free market for that reason.
Right.
But if there was, and they told you, I don't think that's fraud. And you knew when you deposited your money that it's not going to be there if you want it tomorrow because they loaned it to someone else. I mean, you're kind of okay. Well, you're bearing that risk, I guess. I don't know. But I guess my point being, if someone went in to purposely with the point of destroying Bitcoin Cash, when you're saying it's going to go to zero anyway, eventually, well, some people who don't know, who just bought it, who went to bitcoin.com and bought Bitcoin Cash, they would be hurt by it. And they'd be hurt by it eventually anyway, but would it be a better tactic to just kind of tell them? And which is kind of what we're doing with our podcast. And if they choose not to listen, that's on them.
Yeah, I would think that the longer that this the scam exists, the more people it's going to hurt.
Yeah, but there's people in it now.
Sure,
who could have an opportunity to get out.
Right.
And I would rather see that than them get hurt.
But the thing is, this is part of the. I mean, they're selling this as they're immutable, but they're not.
Sure,
and this is part of the game. I mean, like it or not, we can talk about the more, and I get what you're saying. It is something that should be considered. But man, it's an adversarial world, and the reason that we have these problems now is because of insecurity with other forms of money, with gold and everything. If you can't defend against these sorts of attacks, you shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. I'm just like you're saying you would want someone to attack it. I know people who have Bitcoin Cash and I don't want them to get hurt. I'd rather
I don't want them to get hurt either, but I also don't want. It would be better. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid, and it's awkward because we're saying that you would do this on their behalf. But what about this? I mean, maybe this might be a better example. Because there was another episode. We brought up J.W. Weatherman. He was on our show, and he had an episode on his show talking about white hat versus black hat hacking. And he gave the example of a ski lift, and say that you're an expert in ski lifts, and you know that the ski lift that this ski resort is operating is going to have a failure, and people that are on it are going to fall to their deaths. Would you be justified in you're a hacker, you have the ability to go in and hack their system. Would you be justified in going into their system at night when no one's on the ski slope and basically break it so that they can't, when people come in to go skiing the next day, that it's been rendered inoperable? You're destroying property that's not yours.
Yeah,
but you're doing so as a way to prevent.
I heard the episode. I know. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you are destroying property. Yeah. I mean, you don't want people to get hurt on it, so you're preventing people from getting hurt on it. You're not hurting. You're not going in and being like, "This is going to fall, so I'm going to make it fall and kill these people so that." Then they'll fix their ski lift.
Well, you're not even going in with the intention of being like, well, I'm going to go in because I just don't like these guys. I want to destroy their property. Because my thing is, I'm not going in there. I wouldn't be going in with these altcoins to try to break them with the idea that I want these people to lose out on their money. No, I want these things to fail sooner than later, to go away, so that Bitcoin can be adopted more quickly. Because the longer we go without having sound money, the longer we're going to have governments using central banks and fiat money to print money at their will to go bomb people in other countries and murder people.
Sure.
So, is that, do we say that, you're, I don't know, someone having
I don't think
$1,000
is to stop like if you could, like stopping a ski lift when no one's using it, and yeah, you are hurting, like maybe breaking it, and so you are hurting the property owner, but I think it would be more analogous to be like, there's people riding it and I know it's going to break, and they're not fixing it, so I'm going to break it so that these people get hurt and then they'll wake up and realize it was wrong. I think that would be more analogous to purposely crashing a cryptocurrency, although lives, we're talking a little different money.
Right. I mean, we're talking the bigger picture stuff, and I kind of added the last thing about the wars and stuff on the end. But I mean, I don't know that
because my real feel, and this is just getting off topic and kind of, but my feeling is that Bitcoin will win, and it will win just like how we say the dollar will go away. It's not like it's going to go away overnight, and all these people with all these dollars are going to lose them all because no one's using dollars anymore. They're using Bitcoin. It's going to be gradual, and it's going to come over, and eventually people are going to see it. And I think that'll happen with Bitcoin Cash and everything else. And if you don't change out of Bitcoin Cash in time, I mean, that's more on you.
Right.
And I think that's what will happen.
But I also want to make for people listening, to make the point that doing one of these attacks is not stealing money.
No, but you're
not
are
going in
purposely you're not stealing it. You're not taking it, but you are, purposely crashing it.
Right. Right.
And it's not like you're purposely breaking a brick in your backyard. Like you're
using,
people have their money in
sure,
there and you're crashing it. And while that's not the same as going in their wallet and taking it, I don't want,
but you're using the rules.
I know what you're saying.
You're well within the rules.
And that's, I think I know what you're saying. You're just,
and that's part of it, because even as someone who owns, you own Bitcoin, and there's no guarantee that Bitcoin's going to be there tomorrow.
Crash tomorrow.
Right. And
we know this.
Who do I,
I think Bitcoin is by far the most safest, why I put my money there as opposed to any of the other ones. Like, I'm on board. I get what you're saying. And I know you're saying like they're actually, one of the difference with the hacking the ski lift is you're not hacking anything. You're just downloading the blockchain and running running the software and crashing it. You're playing by their rules. You're not doing anything wrong. It just seems
no, it's awkward. I'm not saying, I hope people don't think that I'm doing this not having any sort of concern for people losing money, because I do think there are a lot of people out there that maybe have Bitcoin Cash, they like Bitcoin Cash, but they're not part of the scam in the sense that they don't realize what's going on, and it's unfortunate.
And I do think that I think the best thing is to do what we're doing and tell people and like warn them and try to show them and be like, here's why this is secure and this is not, and your money's not as safe there, and this could happen any day, and it wouldn't take much to crash this one. This one could crash, but it's going to take a heck of a lot more. Right.
The likelihood of failure of Bitcoin
is much less, exponentially lower. It's not even in the same ballpark.
And before I forget it, because that's why I have the ASIC resistance link about from Stop and Decrypt that I mentioned earlier, is that people are going to say, might come back with, oh, well, it doesn't matter as much if the hash rate is a lot lower because these other coins have ASIC resistance. And that
no one created one, right?
Exactly. I have that article there. If you think ASIC resistance is a thing, Stop and Decrypt debunks that pretty well. And I'll just say this: when Litecoin started, it was quote unquote ASIC resistant, and it's not. They built ASICs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just means that it's not not profitable.
There hasn't been one created yet because it doesn't make sense to.
Right. No one wanted it's not profitable enough to sink the money into
Right.
it. So there's that.
So, and yeah, and that's the point of being like, ASIC card. You want it. You want ASICs, and you want people.
Well, because you want. I mean, if we're securing this network, you want people to be able to do things as efficiently as possible. You want people on the forefront of human ability, because you don't want to accidentally or inadvertently give a bad actor an advantage over you because you're have some sort of egalitarian view on mining.
Right.
But yeah, we kind of jumped us off what we were saying.
Yeah, we did. But you were going with the ASIC. Maybe wait, is that where we were?
I forget what, man. Well, just kind of about just how it's. I guess we were talking about why Bitcoin has a much greater chance of surviving over these other ones. So, well, it's like, would you? All right. Well, Bitcoin's going to impoverish some people that rely. It's not going to be a rug pulling out from under, but there's going to be people that are harmed by Bitcoin taking over his money.
Yes.
The vast majority of people will have it will be an advantage to them, just like if we crashed these altcoins. So does spurring on the advancement of Bitcoin over fiat money cause any sort of consternation? I know it's different. It's different.
Yeah. No. Because the same thing with get versus Bitcoin Cash versus the US dollar. I would say the same thing. Keep saying what you're saying. Look, we could be wrong. Bitcoin may never be world currency.
Sure.
I believe it will be, and I'm putting my money there and I'm telling people about it. And if I'm right, guess what? I'm going to have a little bit of an advantage on the people who said I was crazy. And if not, well, then I lost. But I can only, I think as it gets bigger, as Lightning Network takes off, as more improvements happen and it becomes more functional, I don't, like you said, it's not going to be a rug pulling out. I really don't think that many people are going to get hurt because I think it's just going to go that way. I think it's going to eventually happen and there's going to be a lot of people accepting both. I could be wrong. Maybe it'll happen quick, but I don't think it will. I think it'll be a slow transition and people will see it and people will get on it. And maybe you'll pay for something with a $20 bill and get Bitcoin back as your change and it'll just kind of go. We've talked about collapsitarianism. Do I think crashing the economy purposely is a bad idea? Yeah. I think a lot of people would suffer from that, even though we think this system is fraud and the money is fraud. You don't even have real, this is all fake. Everything's fake, right? I still think crashing the economy would be a bad thing. A lot of people would be hurt by it. So I would much rather the gradual change. And so, yeah, so I guess I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's kind of how I feel about it. Like I would not purposely crash the U.S. economy so that we could move to Bitcoin quicker.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't what you were getting at, but that's
no. It's a good point. It's maybe I don't know. It's weird because now I guess maybe I'm pulling back a little bit on what I was we should just go ahead and crash it. These other coins. Because there are innocent people in there and what kind of changes my perspective or pushes me towards just being like, yeah, just make them go away is because I do think these are scams and the people running them know they're scams. So it's more of like a punishment to them.
Yeah.
But you're taking these other people with them.
Yeah, but you're taking all the innocent people down with them. And then you could say, yeah, but would you rather encourage them to be involved in a scam? And it's like, yeah, I get that. I still don't want to hurt anybody. Maybe I'm too soft. I don't know. Yeah, you could say that. Maybe I'm too much a bleeding heart. I don't know. But I'm fine with that, and that's my opinion. And that's. I mean, maybe I could change it, but that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, so maybe I'll say this. Maybe I'll renege a little bit with what I was saying before and not say, yes, someone, it would be good if someone goes and does it.
But if it happened, I'm okay with it.
If it happens, it will be a good thing.
Yeah, in the long
I
run.
might have just said the same exact thing, but hopefully you kind of understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the best thing you can do is just not hold any of these crap coins.
Yeah.
That's the best defense.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the security of the networks, and I mean, that's kind of really what convinced me, is understanding a little better how these coins work and how they're secured. And one is way, way, way more secure than all the rest combined.
Right.
So, you know, it's kind of the short end of why I like Bitcoin.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't know. What else do you have to add?
Maybe just this one thing to just try to defend my point a little bit more.
I'll actually let you. I won't even push back at all. I'll let you go. Wait, maybe not. Maybe let me.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine hearing what you have to say because I'm just kind of throwing it out there. Well, maybe not everyone now understands this, but it is. I mean, Bitcoin is an attack on government control and central control of money. So part of it, I think you should have it. And this is the difficulty because there is a normalization of Bitcoin now that it's becoming more popular. But there's an understanding that the people are going to try to destroy this.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's part of you should be your risk analysis.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And that's what I was saying. Like, why I like Bitcoin is the most secure. Someone's going to try to crash. Look, you're going to tell me all these guys who are controlling the money now, getting the conspiracy theory side of things, aren't going to attempt it. Mm-hmm. Like their whole livelihood, their whole everything is based on this Federal Reserve. And they're just going to allow Bitcoin, a decentralized thing that they have no control over, to come in. Of course, they're going to fight it and they're going to try to crash it. But we know this. And it's the most. I don't know what it would take. The hash rates. I don't know. Like, would it take $1 billion? Would it take $10 million? Would it take $1 trillion to crash it? I don't know what that number is. I'm sure someone could calculate that. And maybe they have, and maybe it's a commonly known thing, but I don't know it. I know it would be very expensive, and once you crash it, that investment you made is gone. So, would it make sense to? Who knows? I don't think so. But maybe, and they will try. We know that. We know they're going to try to break this thing. Yeah. People are. When I say they, I mean people will try to break it. So that's why I'm going with the most secure one if I'm going with anything.
Yeah. Or even if they're not necessarily trying to break it, people are going to try to gain an advantage and get the money.
Yeah.
Be able to mine all the blocks. And maybe they, with that comes weird behavior, I'll say. And as I'm saying this, it sounds like, oh, just because you can do it, you should do it. No, I hope that's, I mean, I don't know, it may come off like I'm sounding like that. But I hope people understand that there's a bigger reason for this, and hopefully it wasn't understated compared to everything else I was saying, that like when we get to Bitcoin as a money, the world will be a much better, more peaceful place with a whole lot less suffering, because governments won't have the ability to constantly be at warfare and just murder and genocide innocent people.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I would be willing to take the ethical ramifications of people losing some money in order to save those lives. I would be comfortable. I would feel okay. If, again, this is one of those things that's like, if you could collapse the government tomorrow, would you do it? Like, it's not a practical thing, but just as the thought experiment, I would be comfortable standing in front of God and saying, this decision was put in front of me, and this is what I did.
Yeah. No, just I guess I will push back again because destroying Bitcoin Cash is not going to save lives and end wars. The U.S. dollar would. But if you destroyed more lives in the process by collapsing the economy, maybe long term it's better, but you just killed like tons of people, essentially. Not killed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the hastening of the quicker that we have Bitcoin or some sort of sound money that breaks this monopoly, the less people will die.
Yeah. And I just don't know that breaking these altcoins would get us there any quicker. I don't, or maybe only more like slightly. I'm not. Yeah, it's like Bitcoin Cash is holding Bitcoin back by 10 years. Like I think Bitcoin's going to win, and it's going to win basically in the same time it would if Bitcoin Cash didn't exist, because it's still. I mean, how many people actually own it that on a regular, like not in our little corner of the world, but in the general public? Not many. I've been talking about.
The thing is, it's diverting security. That's where I'll push back a little bit. And I was going off and saying that, these are microscopic compared to Bitcoin, what their proof of work is. But when you combine all these altcoins, it does add up to something not completely insignificant. So it is hard. The fact that these other altcoins are existing is diverting resources away.
It is, but I just think marginally. I don't, and I know what you mean. I know if all the hash power went to Bitcoin, it'd be a lot more secure than it is now. But I don't know. Once more, like
I do believe that Bitcoin will win and become money, but at the same time, I am taking a very conservative approach to trying to do everything possible, because it is a huge deal. I mean, gold was incredible. Gold produced a lot of benefits to society, but it had an attack vector that was eventually exploited by banks and central banks and states that caused a whole lot of horrible problems in the world, 2 world wars, among all the other things. So, anything to make sure that we pave a path to breaking that. I would be, not anything, but within reason. But after this episode, well, what's within reason to you?
Yeah.
So I mean, we can
talk about this all night.
Do you have anything? I'll let you. No, you have anything else?
I have nothing. I said my piece, and I think people will know who the good guy here is. But do you have a free market success story?
Yeah. Not really. I wasn't thinking about it.
How about reusable Q-tips?
No, that's that's disgusting.
And why I will say, I guess it's a free market success story is who sent us that? Was that Peaceful Treason?
Yeah, I think so. The reason why it's gonna be, I'll let you go. It's your.
No, it's not my thing.
No, it's Slappy is. Everyone's gonna be like, you know what? Rollo was really, really the good guy in this episode.
Yeah. So actually, my response to the tweet was that's a market failure. Sarcastically, so don't pin this on me. I would say it's a market success because it's someone who sees an idea and they know there's these people who are environmentally conscious and see using these Q-tips every day and throwing them in the trash is not good for the environment in their mind, and this is a way to alleviate that, and it gives someone an option if they want to use the same Q-tip every day and clean it. I assume they can do that, and it's a way, and now they can test it out on the market. I forget what the article was. Maybe they were getting around the funding or something, or they were on Shark Tank or something like that. So it may fail, but why I would say it's a market success story is it shows you the things that are possible in the market, things you can try. You have an idea, even if I think it's a crazy idea, you can try it, and if there's enough people who want it, then it's there and people use it and it's great and that's good. And if people don't want it, well, then they'll fail and they'll go away. And there won't be someone there saying, no, this is good for the environment. We must have these. We must keep putting money into it and force people to pay for it.
So it will be a free market success story because it will fail.
Yes.
And they will go bankrupt and be economically demoted for a bad idea.
Right. And we won't have
So would you have a problem if I got a bunch of money and just produced these reusable Q-tips at a cost that they cannot compete with, so that I run them out of business and then just stop selling them once they're bankrupt?
Do we have to go talk about Dow Chemical? Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do a lot of my friends invest in this and have money in it and really believe in it? And maybe they don't know that reusable Q-tips are kind of weird. And no, actually, I don't know. I mean, if you wanted to do that, you could raise the money and do it. Go for it.
Yep. All right. I'm also going to put on the show notes page, mcflugel.com/141, 10hoursofbitcoin.com.
Check that out, actually.
Yeah. It's really if you're interested in learning about Bitcoin and maybe getting some of the perspectives that I and Slappy were giving here, maybe not necessarily about attacking the other
but just Bitcoin,
the other coins. Yeah, just understanding the economics and maybe some of a little bit of the technical stuff too. It's
really good.
It's 10 hours of your time, and which sounds like a lot when you first kind of look at it, but if you think about it, in order to kind of really understand a subject, you have to put way more than 10 hours into it. So this is a way to really just do an efficient way and really knowing that you're getting the best possible content for the short amount of time that you may have. So highly recommend that. And yeah, give us feedback on that, or give me feedback, because maybe you don't agree with me.
Maybe you don't agree with me. Give me feedback.
Give Slappy and I some feedback on this. We're just kind of shooting ideas off the hip here. So I may change my mind on that. Slappy presented me with some things that I hadn't considered because I think I was doing yard work today, or maybe I was driving home from work. And this idea of just, someone should just destroy these other ones. So I'm open to my mind being changed on that.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it's just obviously a theoretical.
Sure. Yeah.
Talk. I mean,
and I think the reason, and you might say like, well, why doesn't someone do it right now? And it's because a lot of these mining outfits are making money off these.
Right.
And so I think a lot of the blame is on them for just kind of allowing scams to exist because they're able to make some money off it. So,
and I really think, that's why I like talking about that. I like doing these episodes. I like talking about it. I like telling people why, people get annoyed with Bitcoin maximalists and people get annoyed with Bitcoin Cash people and all of the above. But here's why we think this way. And, maybe you'll hear us and agree with us and get into Bitcoin and out of Bitcoin Cash or whatever else. And maybe not, but we're going to, I feel comfortable telling people why we think what we do and why we think this is the way to go. And it's not because we bought when it was $17,000 and we need the price to get higher to get our money. Like, no, that's not our goal. That's not our end game. That's not what we're thinking.
Yep.
That, I don't know. That's my 2 cents there. My 2 Satoshis.
Nice. Well, if we're going to have dollar parity with the Satoshi, shouldn't it be centi Satoshi?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. If we have Satoshi's worth a penny a piece, I'll be pretty happy.
That would be cool.
All right. I don't have no idea how long we've been going, but I think it's been for a while. So,
so when, that's it. Let's end it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.